Imagine you are 26, successful at work, surrounded by friends, even lucky enough to have your own flat. The only thing is, you've never had a partner. Imagine that every time you go on a dating app, you face a wall of abuse. Why are you even here? You're wasting my time. No one would ever fancy you. You're gross and inevitable. Can you even have sex? Imagine you eventually decide to ask for some help from a dating agency, only to wake up one Wednesday morning to an email that said you probably shouldn't sign up because people don't want to date someone like you. Why? Because you're visibly disabled. The thing is, I don't have to imagine. That's exactly what happened to me one morning 4 years ago. There are many things I could say about that email, but today I want to focus on what happened next. Because after I stopped crying, I did something else. I tweeted the email. To say it went viral would be an understatement. Things occurred. But once everything had settled down and the press stopped calling, what really stuck out to me was the many disabled people who got in touch to share similar experiences of ableism within dating. What was especially noticeable was the difference in stories between what had happened to disabled men and what had happened to disabled women like me. Almost across the board, disabled women face a lot more hate, many more questions about their ability to have sex, and most strikingly, I think, a deluge of specific nastiness for men who didn't want to care for them, whether or not they even needed that care in the first place. The more I read, the more I thought, this wasn't just ableism, this was sexist ableism. When the dust had settled a bit more, I looked around to see if anyone was talking about this toxic mix of ableism and sexism. What I found was a single article that I had written. The silence was profound, especially from the supposedly intersectional feminism I was surrounded by. This matters because it's not just me. Not only are women more likely to be disabled than men, almost across all measures, disabled women have worse outcomes than either non-disabled women or disabled men. This is not just a disability issue, this is a women's issue. The combination of ableism and sexism has big structural ramifications. At what could be called the more benign end of the scale, the pay gap for disabled women in the UK is about 4 percentage points higher than it is for non-disabled women. Meanwhile, we have much higher rates of cervical cancer because, as a survey by the charity Global Cervical Trust found, 63% of disabled women had previously been unable to attend a cervical screening due to a lack of access. At the worst end of the scale, the charity Safe Lives, which is dedicated to the issue, found that disabled women are over twice as likely to experience domestic abuse as our non-disabled counterparts, often because we are financially trapped in abusive homes, or because abusers are the same people providing our care, or because an astonishing 9 in 10 women refugees do not have basic wheelchair access. I could list stats like this all day, I really could. But for disabled women like me, going about our day-to-day lives, it's often the interpersonal stuff that is just as important and often just as painful. From dating to friendships to work, there's this pervasive narrative that we do not belong, whether in physical spaces because of inaccessibility, but also in big parts of life, from the beauty industry to sexual health care, from the office to motherhood. This narrative shapes our quality of life because it controls the opportunities that come our way, our sense of self, and inevitably our mental health. Just one example of this is that the ONS found that while 3.8 of non-disabled women are often or always lonely, for disabled women, that is an astonishing 16.5%. Disabled women need feminism, but feminism is ignoring us. In the years since that dating agency fiasco, as I like to call it, I've thought about this a lot. And the problem for feminism, I've concluded, is this. The problems disabled women face are often on the surface perceived as opposite to the problems non-disabled women face. What do I mean by that? Let's think about body image. For so many non-disabled women, the issue is a hyper-focus on your appearance. For disabled women, the issue is that we are assumed not to care at all about what we look like, and so we're not given access to hairdressers and beauty parlors. Or take, for example, the issue many younger non-disabled women face of hypersexualization. For disabled women, especially visibly disabled women, the problem is a complete desexualization. Or let's take motherhood. For so many non-disabled women, there's an assumption that they want to be parents, whether or not that's true. For non-disabled ones, the issue is a pervasive denial of our reproductive rights. In many states in the US, a mother can lose access to her child simply because she is disabled, without the need to prove any neglect or harm. So these issues appear to be opposite, but as I've written and talked about and thought about them over the past few years, I've come to see that the underlying assumptions are the same. If we think back to that body image problem, the problem really is that for women, our inherent worth is tied to our appearances. If we think about the sexualization problem, the real issue is that women, disabled or not, are denied their own sexual agency. And if we think about motherhood, the real issue there is that we still believe there is one perfect way to be a mother. Across all of these issues, and there's so many more, the ultimate problem is that we are assumed not to be able to make our own choices about who we are and where we belong. So, feminism should learn from disabled women, because that would help us get to the real underlying problems that affect all women. In the end, it is the same fight. We should be in it together. Thank you.